the first time of showing him wrestling, just because it's so uniquely different. It's shot like a little mini film, and you know, as fans, as long-term fans, we all appreciate what they're putting into this and all the little moments they're hitting. But I think if you were watching this as I don't know, I'd have to ask somebody if they were watching WrestleMania for maybe the first time in many years, what they took away from this. Was it too ridiculous? Was it too much over the top? Did they not understand the characters enough? I don't know. But obviously, The Undertaker's been around for a long time. It made perfect sense to have someone like him in this match. And I would say, after seeing this, I would say for Undertaker, not all the time, because then you'll ruin it and it'll become too much, and too much of anything is bad. But I would say going forward, if you know, when people keep harping on about having Sting and Undertaker, I would say do it in this manner, because it's a lot better, it's a lot safer. You know, the way they cut it, you could probably have a much better dream match between two guys like that than you would at maybe like a Saudi Arabia show down the line in a ring. You know what I mean? So I would say for Undertaker's gimmick, this could work really favourably for him going forward, especially at the stage of career he's at. But like I say, not too much of it, because as soon as you start doing that, it becomes, you know, a non-event. But first and foremost, like just to start off the match before I bring you in, Josh, like some of the things I took away from this, I loved the AJ Styles entrance. I thought that was genius, just the way he came out. Keep harping on about this as well, but AJ Styles as a heel is knocking it out of the park all the time. Really does a good job of selling that to me. Of course, we get the over-the-top music for The Undertaker coming in. He's on the bike. And at that point, I kind of realised, right, I need to just really, suspend disbelief for this match to enjoy it. Because if you don't, you're going to get probably quite wound up about it. You're going to overthink too many things. But I think if you watched it for what it was, this actually was very well done. It wasn't cheaply made. It was better than what was it Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt, the House of Horrors? Mm. See, I liked it, but I was put off when you saw Randy turn up in the wrestling gear in a limo. Like, I was thinking, why would he be in that stuff? He's traveling God knows how many miles, and he's turning up at Bray Wyatt's compound in wrestling gear. And yeah, it was a little bit too over the top in that one. But this, I felt like they hit it out of the park for me. What was your takeaway from this, Josh? Because I've got to say, very, very positive response from everyone, which I'm very surprised about. I mean, I'm sure not everybody, but in terms of the reaction, the sort of greater good is definitely giving a positive thumbs up for this one.
Personally, I've seen zero hate, which is great. Couple of things. I think Undertaker looked fantastic. Obviously, different attire, different look. Obviously, going back to, I think, circa 2000, 2003, that sort of look. Not fully American Badass, but if you remember when he was a heel in 2002, he would talk to his opponents as he was beating them up.
Yeah.
I loved that.
Like the big evil stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's it. The big evil stuff. Yeah. That's the stuff. I loved that. That was one of my favourite Undertaker periods. Okay. And seeing that again tonight against one of the best wrestlers in the world, AJ Styles, was brilliant. The entrances, like you said, like you mentioned, brilliant. It just made everything feel big. It made it feel personal. Mentioning Michelle in it. I'm glad Michelle wasn't there, obviously, because it's a dangerous environment. If Undertaker is protecting her, why have her there? So I'm glad she wasn't. Nothing against her in any way, just for the story purposes. The fighting on the roof, the tombstone on Anderson, throwing Gallows off the roof, the chokeslam off the roof on Styles. It was all there. Like you said, it's not a 5-star classic. This was cinema, and this was the first time that WWE done. This was 35 minutes, and this was the first time that WWE dived into something like this. Yes, they tried to do something with Hardy, with Vanguard, and the chair of wheels and all of that. With I can't remember who they did that with. I think it was Bray, wasn't it? Actually,
yeah.
And then they did Bray and Orton, and it just didn't work. If they're going to now, WWE have given themselves a huge problem now, because people as of today have already started saying what you've said. Undertaker Sting needs to be in this environment or similar. I think if that's what they're going to do, they need to do it for next year. I don't think you can leave it any later than that, but you don't want to be overdoing the Boneyard matches.
Yeah.
If you're going to show someone, if you're showing a non-wrestling fan this, avoid doing that, because they'll treat it as a joke.
Yeah.
You have to appreciate the characters and why that this is being done here. If you're going to show someone a wrestling match for the first time, go to see Will Ospreay versus Shingo Takagi from last year's Best of Super Juniors. But anyway, that's another story. But I mean, for the nostalgia and for the fan watching and needing a good Undertaker match, then this was it. If this is the last time we see Undertaker, fine. He rode off into the night, okay? And that would be fine by me. If they don't do Sting, would it be a missed opportunity? Perhaps. However, could Sting take the bumps that Styles did? Would it be remembered for not as good as the Styles match? Obviously, it would be. But yeah, a great way to end WrestleMania, a new way to end WrestleMania.
Yeah.
It's given me... The whole night that we've spoken about, the way it's laid out, has actually made me more interested in tonight, because now I know what I'm expecting. Now I know what we're getting.
Yep.
Should the Firefly Funhouse main event tonight? I think it should, if it's similar to that, which I think it will be, because you've got John Cena's a Hollywood actor. So he's got some serious experience of on-set work there. Bray Wyatt is a creative mastermind. This could be really good tonight, and I really hope it will be. But Undertaker Styles is going to take some doing. It's going to take some serious doing to beat that. I haven't rewatched it. I don't want to until the middle of the week. I absolutely loved it, and I am so glad that it got the praise it deserves from what I've seen on all the social medias, the Twitter and the Instagram. Blown away. Loved it.
No, I think everyone is really shocked at how good this all turned out, because like I said, going into this, it's all been about the Funhouse, on my side anyway. That's all I've heard about, and this was good. And I think, to your point, whether Undertaker is going to come back and do matches, I think this is a better, safer way for him to do it, I would imagine. And saying about Sting, I mean, the only advantage, of course, is this stuff is taped, so you get a few cuts, and you can probably make things look worse than they maybe are. You know what I mean? Like, they could sort of use some camera trickery when using Sting and Undertaker together, if you haven't got somebody who can take all the bumps. So this sort of thing, I mean, I'm throwing Sting and Undertaker out there because it's always one of those matches that gets spoken about a lot. But there are probably other sort of variations of Undertaker kind of style matches that you could have with other people as well. But I think that would be a perfect scenario. But yeah, I'm really happy they finished with that match as well, because I'm sure going into WrestleMania, they probably thought this is going to be, halfway through one of the nights. This isn't going to sort of close it. But they must have rewatched this and thought, hang on a minute, we've landed on gold, and this has got to go on at the end. The people will love this. So whoever done that, I've got to give praise to WWE for the pacing of this show, because you don't know what people's response to something like this is going to be. It could have gone horribly wrong. Let's be honest. If you don't finish in the actual ring itself, and you put this out and it's a complete mess, you instantly get a whole other version of WrestleMania Night 1. People's reactions to it would be all over the place. So I'm glad that they did that. They finished with this. Made perfect sense. Does definitely have me intrigued for Night 2 now, as Josh said. So yeah, really good. I think the sum up of this, really, I think will be the same, a little bit of probably what I'll talk about tomorrow as well, is the fact that I feel like this has been as best as they can do. However, I just wish that they'd maybe have cut the matches down just by about 6, because I think that's all you really needed. And just go for these unique and creative ways of making every match look different. But of course, the more matches you have on there, the less opportunity you get to do that and distinguish each match. But I think that's my only sort of bugbear with this, is that there maybe are, too many matches that they've tried to put on for something without an audience. And, really they'd have had the same success, I believe, just by having, a lot less on the card. But I know WWE, they do like to have as many people on as they can. But anything there to add from your point? Just to sum up there, Josh, on WrestleMania?
I'm going to ask you a question.
Go on.
We had 8 matches on the main card and one pre-show. Okay. Yep. You've just said you would have cut it down to 6. You know what's coming, don't you? You know what's coming. What matches would you have cut from the... I'm assuming you would have cut one and put it on the pre-show. Perhaps. I might be wrong. What 2 matches would you have cut from the 8 to make it 6?
Well,
one is obvious, I think. One is obvious,
I think Elias and Corbin is a definite one.
And that's no disrespect, by the way.
No, not at all. Not at all. I just think if WrestleMania, for me, I'm a bit of an old school fan like this, and I believe it should be treated as the biggest moment, of your careers. And if you haven't got something going at that time, then don't just put them on there just to make the numbers up, and that's no disrespect to anybody, because I've seen people left out of immense cards before. I always harp on about WrestleMania 19 having the amount, it was about 7 matches they had, but they was all really good quality, and there were a lot of people left off the card. But yes, Elias, I think the other one, you know what?
Looking at it, it's tough,
it is tough.
Do you know where I would go?
I
would go?
Go on.
I would have taken Strowman and Goldberg away from it tonight and left it at that. Mm-hmm. However, when you do that, you take away Elias and Corbin and you take away Strowman and Goldberg. That's 11 minutes and 10 seconds.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Which isn't much, is it?
You know what? This is going to come across quite controversial, and I know a lot of my listeners won't like me, but I would have taken out that ladder match. I just wouldn't have. I wouldn't have booked it, because I genuinely don't think that's the type of match you need when you haven't got an audience. I just think, but if it wasn't, because it had been booked, it's very hard not to have it. It's been advertised, but I think knowing the way it was going to go, I would have just made it into something else, or I certainly wouldn't have had a ladder match. And it's not to say that the guys didn't put all the energy in, but it's one of those matches I feel that needed the crowd, and I do feel for those 3, because they put in a tremendous amount of effort. And but out of sight, out of mind would have been my thinking on that, just for night 1 anyway. But that's just my opinion. I'm sure somebody somewhere is enjoying the whole thing, so who am I to say? But just my personal preference on that one. Josh, just before we sum up things and talk a little bit more 13-10 just before we go, but before that, night 2, what's the sort of biggest thing you're looking forward to going into this one? Is it the fun house?
This is very, very difficult. Mm-hmm. Now, if anyone that's listening knows me, you know how much of a fan, Mark, or whatever it is for Charlotte Flair. I just want to go on record and say tonight, Charlotte Flair is going to beat Rhea Ripley. She's going to push Rhea Ripley to her limit, but take the NXT championship from her. Yeah. I'm just going out there on a whim and saying that now. What intrigues me the most, and I've just got the card in front of me, and I've just reminded myself, how dare me for forgetting this one. It's Edge Orton, last man standing.
Yep.
For me, that main event tonight. I feel that should main event tonight, with Edge standing tall over Orton's broken body. That stands out. This is a good lineup tonight, you know. Cena Wyatt, Lesnar Drew, Cena Wyatt, Edge Orton. Charlotte, Rhea. I can't choose. They're the four that stand out.
Yeah.
Difficult.